Hi, everybody. It is almost noon. Um, I come down to do some reading at the park because there's all these willows at the house that were flowing all over through the air and, get in your face and tickle your nose. So there's usually none around here, right? So I come down here, and next thing you know, I'm looking around and there's willows all over the place just floating around. I didn't even know there's a willow tree, and I don't even remember the last couple of years any being down here because this was always my escape place from my place of all those. I don't know. I think they're willow trees, but they're these little white looking. You know those little flowers, and they um, they're like uh, they look like a snow cone, not the snow cone, but they're just seeds, that kind of like thing. But they're just floating all over the place. But it's from a tree. I think it's from a willow tree. Maybe it's not a willow tree because I think a willow tree weeps. Yeah, a willow tree weeps because my grandmother's got two big willow trees out of her house. My mom inherited this house, but in the summertime, um, it would get when it gets hot. It's called weeping. Um, but the sap would weep off the kind of rain off the tree all over the windows and all over your cars. So it looks like there's all these uh, pitch all over your car. It's kind of hard to get off. So, when going out parking at mom's house, don't park in those areas, especially in the summertime, because when the tree weeps, it weeps all over the place. Um, but anyway, I thought I'd come down here and um, sit out in the sun for a while because, yesterday it was like 75, but it was so windy. It was so windy that it was annoying windy. Um, all of a sudden, a big gust would come up and then blow dust and dirt in your face, and you're like, what is going on? I don't like this. And besides, it had a little chill to it as well. But um, today it's going to get up to, I think, 82, 83, something like that. And then tomorrow, 84, and then I think 81 or something like that. And then it goes back down again, it just seems so odd though, because, I mean, well, not really, I guess really not that odd because July is when it starts getting really super warm, July and August, and partly through September. It's like October is when it starts getting rainy and fall and windy, super windy because it blows all the leaves off the ground. Oh, I was thinking today when I got out of the shower, um, about how I was looking at the scripture. I think it's Psalms 23, where as I'm walking through the valley of the shadow of death, you are my rod and my staff. The rod is our iron, our blood, his bloodline. The staff is our DNA. Um, or you can look at iron as the X chromosome, and the staff is the Y chromosome. So, and it's King David, so he's a male. So the XY chromosome, you're my rod and you're my staff. As I walk through the valley of shadow of death, you make me lie down in green pastures. A green pasture, and then you look at Osiris. Osiris is a green god, represented as a green god. Of course, there's all kinds of stories about Osiris and everything. But if you take the O away, it's um, like Sirius A. It would be Sirius, Sirius A, and Sirius B. Sirius A is the top dog star, and Sirius B is the pup star. It's so interesting because now that I see the top dog, I think the top dog is actually representing the lion, uh, and then the pup is actually representing the five senses. So you got the cat, intuition, one sense, the top dog, and then you got Osiris, right? Now, Osiris, if you take the O away, so picture the O right here. You take the O away, you got Cyrus, right? Cyrus or Ceres. And I wonder if it's Cyrus or if it's just another word for series, how in our term, in our language, we call it a series. Like, so you think of a play, you think of a movie, you think of a series, right? Series. Osiris. Oh, it's just so interesting. But anyway, the Osiris is represented as green. Uh, the green uh, the green screen that I was telling you about. That's so interesting. It just popped in my head. There's an old, when I was growing up, it's called Mr. Green Jeans. And then they got the Jolly Green Giant. But then they refer to the green, but the green is representing the heart, right? So I make you lie down in green pastures. It's, the four corners of the earth. So you take, if you look up from the sky above and you look down on the land, you'll see a lot of land plots, like in squares. It's very interesting. So that's why I was like looking at our body as this is like my green screen to my eyes projecting this reality. So perhaps through my DNA, because remember, when I'm coming into this world, I'm already programmed with the DNA, the X and Y chromosome of this reality. So when they say there's a veil over us, it's actually, being tricked by the serpent. The serpent is our DNA. So our DNA's tricked us, that's why a lot of people are probably losing their mind because, and they've been here living their lives over and over in this play or in these series and not recognize. I mean, if I look at myself as Daniel, which I have a really strong connection with back in the biblical days, it would be like during that time or that timeline, it was a series, a life, what was happening in that life, a life series. And then you go into the next timeline, it's a life series, right? I don't know. I just need to say that because that might clue into somebody. Somebody might understand that type of mindset. But so you got Osiris, the green screen or green projector, because he's wearing a white robe and and he's green. So interesting, right? The moon is projecting white, probably right, and then we can see things that are on the green screen, right? Because we're in it. So you make me lie down in green pastures, and you're making me lie down into this reality, into this matrix. Like I was saying before, I think Scooby-Doo Incorporated has the end of one of theirs as well. At the end of their series is where they solve everything, and they go with Mr. E. They jump the timeline with Mr. E. And so once they solve everything, all of a sudden a big flash happens, and everybody's like back to normal. No one was affected by anything. People had kids. They expected Daphne to babysit, and she's like, "I'm not a babysitter. This isn't our timeline. This is, they're all like going, we need to travel to go to find Mr. E because he left them a disc of where to go for their next schooling." Next training, so he's putting them in a university kind of like thing. So that's why I was saying in this reality, we have our physical schooling for our physical body, and we have our spiritual church or soul learning on. So it's like traveling between two worlds, but no one thinks like that, so it's like, you can't tell them because, it's free will. I mean, you can tell them, but you can't say, you got to do this. I think that's the reason why they always mention how people get trapped in these realities, trapped in time, because what I'm seeing in my mind is a book closing. So when the book closes, they're kind of trapped until that book opens again, or till a series that opens up again. Perhaps I don't know, but I think that's what they mean by being trapped in time. Is we'll get trapped in this book, perhaps, in a blink of an eye. Could you imagine closing a book? Oh, let's do that. So, in a blink of an eye, so picture it, in a blink of an eye, the book closes. That just popped into my head. Anything that pops into my head as I'm trying to discuss anything, I share, because even though it kind of doesn't make sense right away to me, it's like I need to say it. It may make sense to somebody else out there. But, it's getting kind of warm in this truck already. So I'm going to step outside because I want to be outside and get as much sun as possible. You know me, I love the sun. Besides, we just got a winter. Some guy I just stopped at one of the store. He goes, "What you doing?" I said, "I'm going to go to the park, take a little walk, read a book." He goes, "Oh, yeah." He goes, "Curl up or sit up underneath the tree in the shade." I go, "Shade? We just got out of winter, dude. We had enough shade." He goes, "Oh, good point." So, which it is a good point, it's like we should, we know these seasons come and they go. It's like to energize our body, we should be getting out into it. It's like, so we have about 3 months of winter, right? So we spend the other, 9 months outside charging our bodies so we can last through the 3 months of winter. If we look at our body as a solar panel, or a solar panel that absorbs sun. But remember, you can get too much sun and it can drain your body. It's just like when it gets too hot out here, sometimes your battery would go dead because it's too hot. So you drain it too much. So you got to do it in moderation and stuff, like I do. I'll pop out for like half hour or so, and then I'll go back in. Then I'll go for a walk or something. I don't know, for about 45 minutes, walk around a couple blocks or whatever. But, just get it in moderation. But that's just me. I've experimented with my body, most of my life, if not all my life, on, what my body can take and what it can't take. Like I was telling you about when my first duty station was Barbers Point, Hawaii. And the second day I was there, I was laying out on the beach and I got so fried because I fell asleep in the sun, that when I woke up I was red when I left the beach, but when I woke up the next morning, I was practically almost purple, literally almost purple. I got the scolding from the commander and everything, destroying government property and the whole works. So that's when you kind of learn your lesson. But, I think it was like a couple of weeks after that, I had the best looking tan ever. And I haven't really burnt since. If I do get a little red, it goes away. It goes away within a day or a day and a half, 2 days. It's just like, it just kind of fades away. It's like my skin just absorbs it all in, sucks it all in. Anyway, but that's part of life, though. Is recognizing, what your time machine can handle. Recognize what you're needing. The vitamins that are in this ultraviolet light, like the 7 bowls going down, 7 trumpets, whatever, 7 colors, 7 notes, 7 tune, or 7 keys. Each one of those ultraviolet light centers has a frequency. It has a vibration. It has an emotion. It even has a bad part too. So it's got a good and positive bad side that tick them, right? But all these light centers that are in our body actually end up affecting our health. So that's why, try to always smile. Even if you don't feel like smiling, you're really sick. And believe me, I've tried this lots of times, especially when you're just all upset and stuff, you're like, your face don't even want to smile, right? But if you start lifting your cheeks and kind of like fake it, when you start doing that, it's like you can feel yourself, you can feel like some type of energy inside yourself trying to uplift. And when it's trying to uplift, to me, it feels like that it's healing, which it does. I usually feel better, but it's trying to break that barrier of going, oh, I feel so crappy today. Oh, I can't breathe through my sinuses. Oh, I got a headache. Those kind of things. And you got to, try to work through it and try to do the best you can, try to smile. And I think that's a part of life too, is learning how you can manipulate your environment, right? Moving through space and time. Once I realized that, my body's a time machine and my soul's within this time machine, and I'm moving, and I'm moving through this space. So I'm moving through space and time. It's so interesting how the world stage is like, it's 2 points, 1 point, but two different, is pretty much saying that you have, positive and negative, or you have a positive and negative, or two outlets, that kind of symbolism. But anyway, I'm just rambling on here. Have a great day, everybody.